What if I told you that the woman hailed as the MotoGP goddess wasn't even supposed to be on the grid? That the curves that hypnotized millions almost never made it past the shadows of rejection and silence? Before the global fame, before the designer outfits and magazine spreads, there was just Eva, a girl with a vision too big for the mold the world tried to force her into. Eva Padlock. The name echoes across Instagram with over 2 million followers. A digital siren in a world that's addicted to perfection. But Eva isn't your average influencer. Her rise was anything but predictable. She didn't land her fame through reality shows, celebrity scandals, or overnight virality. In fact, the path she took was one very few dared to tread, and even fewer survived. Born in the heart of Spain, Eva's early years were far from the glitz of luxury brands and high-profile collaborations. She was a design student, quiet, meticulous, immersed in sketches and symmetry, never imagining that one day her body would become a canvas the entire world would be obsessed with. But something inside her refused to settle for a life behind the scenes. She wanted more, not just for herself, but from the world that dismissed her too quickly. She stepped onto Instagram not as a model, but as a mystery. No hashtags. No bikini photo shoots. Just artful selfies and a gaze that said, "I know who I am, even if you don't yet." And slowly, the world started to pay attention. But here's where it gets interesting. Beneath the perfectly curated feed and viral allure lies a woman who has fought battles that never made the captions. A woman who was ridiculed, sexualized, and underestimated, all while building a silent empire right under the industry's nose. And as her name soared beyond borders, the question became, how did she do it? How did Eva Padlock transition from fashion student to Instagram royalty without ever selling out? But behind the perfect selfies lies a story no one expected. One of strategy, defiance, and reinvention. Because what you're about to discover will change the way you see influence forever. Eva Padlock's Instagram may glitter with high-end fashion, exotic destinations, and camera-ready perfection. But the road she took to that spotlight was layered in obstacles the world never saw. Before the spotlight, before she became a MotoGP paddock icon, Eva wrestled with rejection in an industry that had a very specific definition of beauty. Early in her journey, she was often told she was too curvy for fashion. Her look didn't fit the runway standard. Too unconventional for traditional modeling, too artistic for mainstream entertainment. The fashion elite looked past her, but she wasn't looking for their permission. What many don't know is that Eva was deeply rooted in design and architecture. She spent years studying interior design at one of Spain's respected art institutions. Her eye for symmetry and spatial aesthetics gave her a rare advantage when she finally turned the camera on herself. Every frame she posts is deliberate. An art piece wrapped in sensuality. But even with talent and vision, it wasn't easy. There were moments of intense doubt. Periods where her account stalled. Moments when the comments turned cruel, labeling her style as too much, her presence as manufactured, her curves as unnatural. The online world, with all its applause, also brought a torrent of scrutiny. And yet, Eva never fired back. She didn't post emotional rants or enter clapback wars. Instead, she stayed silent and focused. While others fought for likes, she built a brand. When people assumed she had surgery, she posted gym clips. When trolls questioned her fame, she posed in Vogue. When the critics tried to diminish her with whispers of Instagram model, she walked into contracts with Monster Energy and Fashion Nova. There were whispers, too, about plastic surgery, a topic no influencer escapes. But Eva, with grace and precision, avoided the scandal spotlight. She neither confirmed nor denied, she evolved. And that choice? It kept people watching. There was a moment, right after her first major MotoGP appearance, when everything shifted. Media outlets tried to label her a pit babe, a decorative side piece. But Eva saw the attempt to minimize her, and flipped the script. She used the exposure not to fade into the background, but to make herself the center of her own brand. She redefined what being a grid girl could mean, transforming the role into a platform of autonomy and power. But instead of letting it destroy her, she turned the hate into hustle. And that was only the beginning. Eva Padlock didn't just stumble into fame, she engineered it. Quietly. Strategically. While many were chasing trends, Eva was studying them. While others were obsessed with virality, she was focused on longevity. And that subtle difference? It's exactly why her empire didn't burn out. It expanded. The first power move came when she merged two worlds, motorsport and fashion. Most influencers pick a niche, fitness, beauty, travel, and stay there. But Eva? She refused to be boxed in. By aligning with Monster Energy and stepping into the heart of MotoGP, she exposed herself to a male-dominated global audience. She became the woman every camera couldn't look away from. But she didn't stop at being eye candy. Her page didn't flood with motorcycles or racetracks. It was elegance, strength, and sensual control. She made motorsport sexy without losing her mystery. That crossover was no accident. It was a calculated branding leap. And then came Instagram. Eva approached it like a visual diary. Her backgrounds, minimal and artistic. Her poses, powerful yet unforced. Every post was a masterclass in composition. There was no clutter, no over-explanation, just presence. Followers didn't scroll past her. They paused. She knew how to make people linger, and that alone boosted engagement more than any hashtag ever could. Around the 3-minute mark of her digital timeline, Eva made a second masterstroke. Exclusivity. While other models were revealing everything, Eva revealed just enough. She teased, never overexposed. Her captions were short, her stories sparse. The mystery she preserved made her profile magnetic. Brands wanted her. Viewers couldn't predict her next move. This wasn't by accident. It was a content scarcity tactic borrowed from luxury branding. But her empire didn't stop at selfies. Behind the scenes, Eva started launching collaborations with fashion houses, energy brands, and streetwear companies. She wasn't just wearing clothes. She was negotiating with designers. Eva understood her value. She didn't just model, she co-created. And while everyone was worried about algorithm changes, Eva focused on community. Her followers didn't just like her. They defended her. When rumors swirled, when critics called her just another Instagram model, her community flooded the comments with loyalty. That's the sign of a real brand. Not how many people are watching, but how many people would fight for you. At around the 7-minute mark in her journey, Eva did something unexpected. She stopped chasing Fashion Week appearances and started focusing on wellness. Gym footage, clean aesthetics, calming energy. The sudden pivot was a signal. Eva wasn't stuck in a single identity. She could evolve. She could grow with her audience. And that's why her empire didn't crack when Instagram changed. She wasn't just an influencer. She had become a lifestyle. Today, Eva Padlock stands as more than a digital icon. She's a blueprint. A woman who transformed from a dismissed design student into a self-made powerhouse. She mastered the attention economy with silence, strategy, and an unshakable sense of self. She didn't wait to be chosen. She built her own kingdom. And now the world follows her rhythm. Eva Padlock's story isn't just about beauty, or followers, or fame. It's about knowing your power in a world that's constantly trying to define you. From a quiet design student with a vision, to a global icon who redefined what it means to be seen, Eva didn't climb the ladder. She rebuilt it. She faced rejection, doubt, objectification, and transformed them into fuel. Where others saw a curvy figure, she saw a brand. Where critics tried to shrink her voice, she turned the silence into suspense. And where the world tried to place her in a box, she built a world without borders. In the age of viral noise and disposable fame, Eva Padlock became something rare, a slow burn in a fast world. But the real question remains. Is she simply an Instagram model who cracked the code? Or is she a mirror, reflecting back everything we crave, fear, and secretly admire in ourselves? Either way, her impact is undeniable. And her story is still being written. If this inspired you, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more powerful stories just like this. Only on Biography TV, where beauty meets the untold truth.